Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV, and today I've got a new find for you. It's not something I found. This was found by a fellow researcher who posted this on Mars Magazine on Facebook, which is the group I run, which has nearly 11,000 members now. And we don't get too much spam and crap on here, so do come along and check it out. There's loads of cool stuff on here, and you'll often get to see things on here before they go viral or go on YouTube or anything like that, or go into the newspapers. And many of these finds have been sent to the newspapers by myself and been published all over the world. And this is a new one. This was posted yesterday. This was posted yesterday by Yurij Kono, who I assume is from Asia, possibly Japanese or South Korean, I'm not sure. Either way is good. And it seems to be a skull. Now this is an image from the Perseverance rover, and it's from Sol 582. You've got the information down here. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. Now, I've been working on this set of images already and spotted it, but didn't really twig because I was having a few problems with this Gigapan, which I've done here, because there are missing images. But I put this up anyway for now, and what I will do is I'll put a new one of these up later on today or tomorrow with the missing images in place. There's a gap here and there's a bit of a gap here. But this is it. Let me show you it up close. Here's the raw clip here. If I get in nice and close, you can see two eye orbits, a nose and a mouth with teeth in it. It's not very clear. The image is a bit overexposed. For some reason, the Perseverance rover images are very bright. They're much brighter than the ones we get from the other crater where Curiosity is, which is Gale crater. Much brighter. In fact, they're a bit too bright, but you can always darken them. It's better to have them a bit too bright, I think. And what I've done here, I've done a composite image with the raw clip, enhanced clip there, and I've rotated that round and darkened it a bit more so you can see it almost as if we're looking at it straight on. It looks kind of weird because there's like a very small forehead on it, assuming this is a skull. It may not be, but it really does look like one. And if you're new to this channel, suspend your disbelief at least until I've shown you a few more. And I'll put a load of clips in at the end of this video in the last couple of minutes of all the other ones that have been found, or a lot of the other ones that have been found both in this crater and the Gale crater and elsewhere on Mars, okay? This is not a one-off. So I get a lot of people coming along to my channel saying it's just a rot. And I say, well, have you seen the other 100 of these? Or other 150 of these? And they usually haven't. If you zoom in, you can zoom right in on this. You can see two eye orbits, a nose here, a mouth with teeth in it. It's irregular, it's eroded, and I would imagine that the top of the head is broken off here and may have come round like this. So you can check this out. If you look at, on the actual Gigapan itself, it's just above here. Now, actual size of this is quite good because we have tracks in the image up here, which are 20 inches wide. That's about 20 inches there, from there to there. So it's less than half of that. So it's about 7 inches in size, which is kind of a bit smaller than the human's skull. But I think actually the top part of the skull is broken off. This would have been bigger. And this actually may be part of it behind or over here. So this may not be the original size. And if it's eroded and broken, then it may have been quite a lot bigger at the top here. Many of the skulls I've shown before and found myself, and other people have found, do have very large elongated skulls, Martian skulls. And some of them look kind of human, some of them look more reptoid, and some look really, really strange and don't look either. Many of them look like proto-humans or almost Neanderthal looking, or even ape looking, okay? And I have shown about 150 plus on my channel so far. So it's not a one-off. So for those of you that are new to this channel, check out the clips coming up in a minute. And I'll show you some quickly in a second as well anyway. So there it is. I've got it here. And I'm just going to point out the details in here for you on the rotated one. Now, of course, we're seeing this from an angle because it's lying back on the ground. And we're seeing it from an angle. We're not seeing it straight on. So in reality, if this was seen straight on, both orbits would be more, this orbit here would come out like that, which would match this one, okay? And this part of the head would come around like this and match that, okay? So it'd be more symmetrical, and this would probably, if it wasn't broken at the top, this part of the head would probably have come to there like that. So that's more likely what it would have been like originally before it broke and eroded away, okay? So it looks like a mineralized skull, and I have shown many of these. On Mars, the conditions are very cold and very, very dry, and remains on the ground mineralize and preserve extremely well because of the lack of oxygen and very cold temperatures. And they kind of freeze dry, and then they mineralize over time. And in lake beds like this, which have a very high content of sulfur and also bicarbonate minerals and salts, these things would mineralize very quickly and then turn into a fossil much quicker than they would on Earth in our damp, warmer conditions, okay? That's how it works. And there's hundreds of these, not just humanoids or reptilians or whatever, but many types of animal as well, including birds, apes, rodents and that kind of thing, all sorts of stuff, and lizards, of course. So there we are. Let me just point out these details, because you can see here in the darker one, let's look at this one on the left, because I've really darkened it. You can see, obviously, the two orbits at the top. We have a nose area here, and we have a mouth here, with some teeth here. Okay? Now, it's quite irregular. Let's do that again. We have a mouth here with an upper lip, lower lip, teeth. I think there's another one there. Just about make them out. The nose is damaged. It sort of comes to there. You can see the bridge on the nose coming down here, very narrow. So there's not much of a gap between the two orbits here. And like I said, if this was seen from the front properly, this would appear much more similar to this one. But because of the angle we're at, it doesn't match exactly. So there we are. There's the cheekbone there. There's some weird detail on the cheekbone there. Not really sure about that. Just there. And we have the lower jaw, mandible here. Okay? There we are. So this was, I think, a mummified person. This was a dead person. And you've still got lip detail here. Okay? Just here, you can see lip, upper lip there. That would not appear on the skull itself. If the flesh had all been rotted away, you would not get lip detail. You would just see teeth and bone. But this looks like it's mummified and crystallized in the bicarb minerals, frozen and preserved, and then eroded and smoothed out. So this would have been rougher originally, but you can see what looks like fleshy parts here and here where the lip is, and some here. So there are still some preserved skin on this, it looks like. What we may get in the next few days is some more images of this, but from a slightly different angle, from further to the left, hopefully. If we do, I'll be able to make a composite image showing this one and the ones hopefully we'll get in a few days' time. And we should be able to see that it does match up, both sides. But there's enough of it to be seen here for it to match up. And just because the left orbit isn't exactly the same shape as this one, doesn't mean it's not a skull, because of the angle we're at. Like I said, if this was more upright, the left one would come out more to here, like that, and match this kind of strange teardrop shaped eye socket, okay? Really cool. So, great find by Yurij there. I was quite impressed with this one. He's been doing some really cool stuff. He's been doing gigapans and searching stuff like I do and putting them up on Mars Magazine. And just in case you don't believe that there are skulls on Mars. I've got a bunch of them here, and some of them do look like reptoids or reptilians, like this one. Very similar to this. Now this is a reptoid. Now this is apparently what dinosaurs may have evolved into before they were wiped out. Upright walking reptoids with large eyes and a sort of reptoid kind of nose. Okay. If you click on this, it will take you to the video and see what happens underneath the video. Okay. This is the video. Underneath, reptilian humanoid. Reptilian humanoids or anthropomorphic reptiles are fictional creatures that appear in folklore, fiction and conspiracy theory. So apparently this is a conspiracy theory, even though these are Mars scientific images taken by a scientific robot which was built by scientists from NASA and sent there about a year and a half ago. Okay, but it's a conspiracy theory apparently, even though these are scientific missions to do science on another planet by scientists, okay? But because I'm showing you it, it's suddenly a conspiracy theory. If they were showing you it, of course, it would be fact, okay? See how that works? So there are lots of examples. This is one of my favourite ones. This is what I found years ago. You can see shark-like teeth on this one. This is very large. It's about 1.5 to 2 feet from here to here. Giant. And it's not human. It's humanoid, but it's not human. This was very large indeed. The person that owned this could have been was probably somewhere between 10 and 20 feet tall. Very, very big indeed. A lot of these are quite strange and do not expect them to conform to our rather narrow ideas of what skulls would look like, okay? There's this one here with piranha-like teeth here. There's a close-up of the teeth. I'll show you that with a magnifier. There's the teeth there. You can see them. Very strange, okay? Now some of these look like rocks, but they're not. They're actually mineralized skulls that are eroded and damaged. But some of them are still in relatively good condition and are not millions and millions of years old. I would say some of them are only hundreds or thousands of years old, okay? There's another one here. There's loads on here. And in fact, this whole website, this is ArtAlien.tv, by the way. And this is the Mars Skulls and Bones page. There's loads of other things here, including buildings, objects, sphinxes, animal remains, statues, everything you can imagine. There's whole cities and stuff that can be seen as well. So suspend your disbelief until you've seen at least some of the actual evidence. Just because people in white coats at NASA or on the TV haven't told you these things are real does not mean they are not real. As we have found out in the last couple of years, they are very good at lying to people, okay, if it suits them. And there are massive structures on Mars. There are cities here. There are loads and loads of things. There's buildings on the ground. You can see outlines of buildings and ruins. This is Jezero crater, by the way, near the skull I just showed you. And there's stuff all over Mars. There's whole cities eroded and buried, like this one. And a lot of these were found by other people, not just me. So I always credit people like Yurij and other people that put stuff on Mars Magazine, as should be done, okay? There's the perfect doorway, of course, which is actually one of the best finds ever, I would say. This is very small. It's less than 2 feet, about 1 to 2 feet. Okay, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It may not be an actual doorway for people to walk in and out of. It may be a doorway for something else to walk in or out of, or it could be an air vent or ventilation duct or something like that. So there we are. It's about the size of a ventilation duct. So there's loads of crazy stuff, including sphinxes and buildings and all sorts of stuff to see. Cities, thousands of structures and domes and weird things in the northern hemisphere as well, these things. Okay, so suspend your disbelief until you've at least looked at some of the clips I've got here, and I'll put some clips coming up in a minute of the other skulls I've found, and a few found by other people as well. Here's the actual page for that single image. I'll put a link to that as well in the description, so follow the links and click on those if you want to see the Gigapan. The Gigapan will be updated, this one, and hopefully some of these missing images will be in place by the time you see it. Okay, so check it out. Have a look yourself. You can see the eye orbits, you can see the nose, you can see the mouth with lip detail, and there are teeth, and there is a lower jaw. It's damaged, yes. It's probably broken off at the top, like I said, because the forehead is way too small, but who knows? It doesn't look quite right, but I think this may be part of it here, behind. It seems to match up here. This part looks like it would join onto there, okay? And there's probably other parts and possible bones and stuff buried in the sand here, just below. Okay, so there we are. Well done to Yurij. Thanks for posting it. Really interesting one, this. Another one for the now collection of probably over 150 of such things. Many of them are clearer. Many of them are not as clear as this. Many of them are quite small. Some are very, very large. They range in size from about 3 feet to about 3 inches. And they're all different species, okay? So it's not just humanoids or reptilians or whatever you want to call them. Some look insectoid, some look more ape-like, some look human. Some are actually human, okay? There will be another video coming up in a couple of days' time. I've been a bit ill recently, so my video rate has gone down a bit, but I'm much better now, so things should get back to normal. So keep an eye open for that. So these things do exist. They are solid items. There are doorways, there are cities, there are objects, there are even weapons lying around on the ground, things like tanks. There are all sorts of things to be seen on Mars. Many of them have been published in the press, and people seem to have forgotten about it already. I know there's a lot to worry about down here on Earth because things aren't going that well at the moment, but these are important finds and have to be catalogued and categorised, like I've done on this website and other people have done and helped me with. So thanks to you all for doing your work as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.